And we're live once again. Good evening, folks. Welcome to Friday Night Tech Talk. I'm Mobile Geezer, which I'm sure you're well aware of if you're watching on YouTube, because you're watching on the Mobile Geezer channel. But of course, you can also watch on Facebook, on Mobile Geezer, or my George Hayes ID. All three are simulcast at the same time. And we do this once a week. It's called a Friday Night Tech Talk because I picked some articles that I think are interesting to us tech types, and I show them off to you guys and let you guys comment on them in the comments if you feel so inclined. But first off, if you're new here, please type something in the comments so we'll know that you're there, and let us know where you're from. And so far today, I don't think anyone's in here as yet, as near as I can tell. I just heard my speakers reminding me that I did not put my earbuds on. I do get carried away sometimes. All right, let's see if, give me a sec. Let me make sure these earbuds are working. Yep, they're working. Okay, sorry about that. So if you're new here, every week I show you my website where the show notes for tonight's show are. So let me share screen and show you that. So if you go to mobilegeezer.wordpress.com, click on today's date, you'll get just the show notes for tonight's show. And as I always do, I'll give you a little preview while we're here. So I found two articles right off the bat when I was doing research. And I said, okay, this is a pretty good way to start the show. One has drone deliveries are real with more cities being added. That was on The Verge. So that's drone deliveries. We're going to follow that up with that humanoid robot at your door, just delivering your order. And that's also on The Verge. So you've got drone deliveries and you've got robot deliveries. So I thought, okay, that's a good way to start the show. And Eleanor just popped in. Hi, Eleanor. Glad you're here. And nobody else is here as yet, as far as I know. So we're going to start with drone deliveries. We're going to follow it up by humanoid robot deliveries. And then I don't think there was a huge event this week, but the big thing, I believe, was the Nintendo Switch launch finally came yesterday. So I took an article from CNBC.com. I just said the Nintendo Switch 2 launch as hectic as one might expect. So that's, to me, the big deal of the week. And of course, you all know, since I have the original Nintendo Switch and I get about 2 chances a year to actually play a game, I decided not to get it. But we'll go over it since it is the big thing. Then I just happened to run across this article. Get ready for some big AirPods upgrades coming to WWDC 2025, in which WWDC starts Monday and goes all the way to Friday. So we should be getting some nice upgrades. And I have my AirPods Pro 2, so I'm looking forward to that. And then there are some nice upgrades in that article, which you'll see. Then we're going to follow that up with a follow-up to one of our previous shows. Court rejects Apple's App Store appeal. This is the ongoing epic battle, but Apple's losing it pretty good at this point. So, court rejected their appeal. So we'll go over that. Like I said, that's just a follow-up to a previous. And here's another follow-up. I did a separate video this week about Asus, older Asus routers being broken into or being hacked. And I've got a follow-up. Asus has addressed router botnet concerns with firmware update. So everybody is covered through that. And Annette's in here. Hi, Annette. Glad to have you here. Two of our most faithful, Eleanor and Annette, which is great. Okay, and then my last story, and this is just how I described it based on the writer who's a lady. I just said Samsung is about to annoy you using your phone to get pushy, and it's for shopping ads. So we'll take a look at that. So those are all the stories we're going to go through tonight. Ted did let me know he won't be able to make it tonight. So if by some miracle Michael will make it, I'll certainly let you guys know. But it looks like it's going to be just me. And that says, got to work this evening, catch you on replay, which she always does. Thanks for popping in, and I really appreciate it. Okay. So back to our first story then. And it's going to be a quick night since it's just me. I just thought these were both interesting stories. So I just said, welcome to the future. That covered both stories. But we're going to start with drone deliveries are real, with more cities being added. Like I said, it's on the verge. Wing and Walmart are bringing drone delivery to 100 new stores. Wing is a company owned by Google. Customers who shop at Walmart stores in Atlanta, Charlotte, Houston, Orlando, and Tampa will soon have the ability to request a drone deliver their online shopping orders. So I gather this has already been going on in some cities. And that's from yesterday by Andrew J. Hawkins. So drop in to read if you can get rid of these ads. Wing, the drone company owned by Alphabet and Walmart. Wing, the drone company owned by Alphabet and Walmart, are expanding their delivery partnership to 5 new cities in the U.S., the companies announced today. Customers who shop at Walmart stores in Atlanta, Charlotte, Houston, Orlando, and Tampa will soon have the ability to request a drone deliver their online shopping orders. Walmart and Wing currently offer drone delivery at approximately 15 stores in Northwest Arkansas. You know Bentonville's going to be one of them because that's Walmart headquarters, and Dallas-Fort Worth. Today's announcement will bring an additional 100 stores into the fold. As we look ahead, drone delivery will remain a key part of our commitment to redefining retail, said Greg Cathy, Senior Vice President, Walmart U.S. Transformation and Innovation, in a statement. We're pushing the boundaries of convenience to better serve our customers, making shopping faster and easier than ever before. And you can see the existing locations, Dallas, Texas, and Bentonville, Arkansas, which will be here and here, and expanded location, that's the bigger ones here, Houston, Tampa, Orlando, Atlanta, and Charlotte. So that's going to add 100 locations, adding them up. So there's a picture of a drone delivering a Walmart bag. Those are some pretty big drones, if you ask me. And there's the package. Walmart has been working with a number of drone operators, but it seems to be most happy with its partnership with Wing. Since launching drone delivery in 2021, Walmart says it has completed more than 150,000 deliveries at the lot, sometimes within 30 minutes of the order being placed. There are a few restrictions. Customers must live within 6 miles of a store under federal aviation rules governing drone operations beyond the visual line of sight. An order needs to be under a certain weight to qualify. Funny, they didn't tell us what the weight was for drone delivery. But Walmart says that covers everything from groceries to health and wellness products to household goods. Since launching drone delivery in 2021, Walmart says it has completed more than 150,000 deliveries. Wing's flagship drone is designed to handle payloads of up to 2.5 pounds. Okay, there's the weight. While its newer models can handle up to 5 pounds. The company says that it has enough battery power to complete 12 miles round trip. So since the limit is 6, that should cover anything. While cruising at a top speed of 65 miles an hour. The drones use tethers and hooks to pick up and drop off small bags and cardboard boxes on customers' front lawns. Wing says it has completed over 450,000 residential deliveries since its inception in 2012. Wing also conducts drone deliveries for DoorDash in Dallas and Charlotte, North Carolina. Wing is also thinking about other ways to improve the efficiency of its delivery network. It created a system that enables its drone to dynamically take pickup and delivery jobs back to back without needing to report back to an originating base, so someone independent. The system includes the use of autoloader stations, which are installed at retailers' parking lots for employees to load a prepaid order when ready. When a drone is available, it can lower a rope to grab it without anyone waiting around. Drone delivery companies claim that by shifting more deliveries to small electric multi-rotor aircraft, few polluting trucks will be needed for last mile deliveries. I'm sure that's the big push to get rid of the polluting trucks. It's a similar pitch being made by Sidewalk, which we're going to talk about next, robot companies delivering takeout orders to residents of Los Angeles and other cities. So I just thought that's an interesting little article. You guys have any comment on it, you let me know in the comments. We can always have a discussion here. So that's the drones. Now we'll get to the robots delivering. That humanoid robot at your door, just delivering your order. Also on The Verge. Amazon is reportedly training humanoid robots to deliver packages. The robots would be driven around in Rivian vans, or electric vans are taking the robots around to jump out and drop packages at homes. Thanks for covering the recent data breach info. Very thing. Always very happy to do it. Okay. I didn't say this is also from yesterday, and it's by Jess Weatherbed. See, that's a nice, easy name to pronounce. I like that. All right, let me drop it into reader view, get rid of the ads. Future Amazon orders may be delivered to your door by a humanoid robot workforce. The information reports that Amazon is developing AI software that will enable robots to operate as package delivery workers that are ferried around in Rivian electric vans and will soon be ready to start real-world testing at a new facility. Citing an anonymous source involved in the effort, the information says that Amazon has almost finished constructing an indoor humanoid park at one of the retail giant's San Francisco offices that's roughly the size of a coffee shop. The obstacle course reportedly contains one Rivian van for training purposes, with Amazon aiming to have humanoid robots hitch a ride in the back of Amazon's electric Rivian vans and spring out to deliver packages. The report concludes with Amazon launching a new agentic AI team to help develop technologies that will power robots operating in Amazon distribution and logistic hubs. In a statement to Silicon Valley, Amazon said that instead of rigid, specialized robots, we're creating systems that can hear, understand, and act on natural language commands, turning warehouse robots into flexible, multi-talented assistants. Amazon is already using a variety of autonomous robots in its warehouse operations, including a trial of Agility Robotics humanoid Digit, a robot that was originally pitched for tasks like sitting in the back of vans and delivering packages alongside other logistics uses. Amazon's training facility is a concerted effort to make this original vision of reality. The information reports that a variety of humanoid robots will be tested for package delivery at its facility, including a $16,000 unit from China-based Unitree. So this hasn't happened yet. The drone delivery has already been happening. So that's the difference. I don't think they tell us how soon this is going to be in actuality. Hundreds of thousands of people currently handle delivery operations at Amazon globally. Amazon acquired the robotaxi company Zoox in 2020, suggesting a desire to fully automate end-to-end package delivery from the warehouse to your front door. So like I said, we don't know when this is going to happen, but it's coming. So I just thought that was a cool way to start the show. Ellie says, that reminds me of the Will Smith movie where the robots don't the shit. Yeah, that was iRobot. That's true. Except they were killing people left and right, weren't they? Okay. But a robot did help save the day there. Don't forget that. All right. I just thought that was an interesting way to start. Now, the big deal of the week, the Nintendo Switch 2. The Nintendo Switch 2 launch as hectic as one might expect. And this worldwide, the launch was yesterday. So let's go take a look at CNBC.com. Nintendo Switch 2 hype leads to shortages, special store opening hours. Published yesterday, and I always have trouble with this guy's name. As far as I can tell, it's Arjun Karpal. Best I can do. Hopefully I'm not butchering his name too much. All right, into review, get rid of the ads. And yeah, everybody I've seen, even on videos, that has one, they're very proud that they were able to get a hold of them. And you'll understand why as we go through the article. Nintendo's flagship Switch 2, the successor to one of its most popular consoles, went on sale Thursday with excitement and hype from fans, leading to special store opening hours and shortages in some markets. The Japanese gaming giant is hoping the console can help sustain a monster rally in its shares, which have risen nearly fivefold since the original Switch was released in March 2012. That's nice. Oh, sorry about that. The thing is, I had it on Do Not Disturb. I don't know why a phone call would come through. Sorry about that. Nintendo is also hoping the Switch 2 can match the success of the original Switch, which has sold more than 152 million units and is the second highest selling device in the company's history behind the Nintendo DS. And current demand looks strong, according to analysts. Today is the biggest console launch of all time, so as expected, there is a frenzy of Nintendo fans checking stock availabilities at their local stores or eagerly awaiting deliveries. This one, I don't think I have a chance. George, I got that part. Gigiashvili, I think. Senior principal analyst at advisory firm Omdia told CNBC by email. The Switch's popularity is widely credited to its innovative portable design, which merged consoles with mobile gaming. People could play the game on a TV, then attach the controller to the console's display and take it with them. That's true. I had that thing on. Give me a second here, folks. I should have this thing on. I do have it on Do Not Disturb, so I don't know why that's coming through. Anyway, sorry about that. Nintendo President Shuntaro Furukawa, okay, that's not bad, said in April that 2.2 million people in Japan had entered the lotteries. Over there, they have a lottery to purchase the Switch 2 on launch day. Furukawa said it was beyond Nintendo's expectations and is more than the company will be able to deliver to stores on Thursday. So that's I guess why they have a lot of it. The shortages in Japan are expected to persist. Demand in Japan for Switch 2 is sky high, actually, perhaps higher than anywhere else. That's got to be tough. Shuriken Todo, CEO of Tokyo-based games consultancy Kantan Games, told CNBC, "You cannot walk into a store anywhere in Japan and pick up a Switch 2 without a pre-order, and this will not change over the next weeks and months." In China, major online retailer JD.com said it had received 400,000 reservations for the console, which began shipping on Thursday. Not everyone who reserves a console will end up purchasing one. In the U.S., Best Buy opened some stores across the country at midnight on Thursday, so really Wednesday night, or late Wednesday, depending on the time zone, for in-store purchases. Walmart said it was opening orders at midnight Eastern Time online, as well as in-store supercenters at 6 a.m. So that would have been 6 a.m. yesterday. Walmart's website currently shows the console as sold out. No surprise there. Doug Bowser, president of Nintendo of America, told CNBC on Wednesday that the company has been working with retail partners to ensure there's ample supply for not only the launch weekend, but well beyond. Yeah, because they knew this was coming, so I think they probably did a pretty good job of being prepared. In the UK, there appears to be more availability. That's surprising. Amazon's UK page shows the Switch 2 available for delivery on Friday. That's great. Other retailers like Currys and toy stores Smyths also appear to have it in stock. So obviously they did something very, very right over there. Given the pent-up demand, a launch day sellouts were inevitable. I think it should say, given the pent-up demand, launch day sellouts were inevitable. No A in there. However, we believe Nintendo is well prepared and expects supply to stabilize in the weeks that follow. And I'm not going to try to say his name again. Last month, Nintendo said it expects to sell 15 million units of the Switch 2 console in the fiscal year ending March 2026. However, analysts have said that it's conservative. Yeah, I think they're way below what they'll actually sell with that number. Kantan Games Todo said he is forecasting sales of 20 million units in the first year. I wouldn't be a bit surprised. Omdia said it is expecting sales of 14.4 million Switch 2 units in 2025 alone. I would think that would be more accurate, which would be ahead of the original Switch's debut year. Tariff uncertainty looms. Like most electronics players, Nintendo is keeping an eye on the tariff situation. Nintendo delayed pre-orders for the Switch 2 in April after U.S. President Donald Trump announced reciprocal tariffs on most countries around the world. The Switch 2 retails for $449 in the U.S., making it Nintendo's most expensive console to date. But from what I've seen and what I've shown you guys in previous stories, I think that's worth it. I said that then, too. Nintendo's Bowser said the company was going to monitor where tariffs are going before making any further decisions on whether to raise the price. So they haven't done it yet. He said consumers should expect to pay the current price for the Switch 2, but did not rule out any future hikes. I think that's very fair. The price that you see right now is the price that you can be expecting in the future. Good. Of course, tariffs could change that in the future. All right, realistic. So like I said, sounds like some of them are doing pretty good. I don't know what they're doing in England to make it so much better, but obviously they really had it together in their country anyway. So anyway, that was the exciting happening of the week. So I guess for weeks, especially in Japan, people are going to be having a tough time getting them. So anybody who gets one is very grateful. So let's see. Yeah, Switch 2 is a tempting device. Yeah, it would be for me too, but like I said, I think I only played twice all year on my original, so I don't see the point in me getting it. I just don't have the time. So, but I figured that was a good story for all you guys who might be excited about it. Okay. Now, AirPods. Get ready for some big AirPods upgrades coming to WWDC 2025. And this was on Tom's Guide. Let's go take a look. AirPods are about to get even better. 5 huge upgrades we're likely to see at WWDC 2025. And I told you, it starts Monday, it runs all the way to Friday. iOS 26 and macOS 26 will bring loads of new features to your AirPods. Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to some of this because some of this sounds pretty good. And this was published 2 days ago. Well, let's go into review. The AirPods family looks set to get a big upgrade at WWDC 2025 thanks to several new features coming to Apple's wireless earbuds in tandem with iOS 26 and macOS 26. According to a report from 9to5Mac, at least 5 new updates coming to Apple's native apps will result in greater functionality with AirPods and could be announced during the keynote. New head gestures. This is number 1. Apple's head gestures for AirPods arrived last year, allowing you to nod or shake your head to accept or decline calls. And I remember reading about that last year, and I've never even tried it with my AirPods Pro 2. I should have. So I got to try to keep up with this stuff. You could do the same to interact with or dismiss certain notifications. This year, we could see these gestures expanded to include new head gestures. We got to skip that. Okay. One of which seems likely to between extending the time a conversation awareness volume change lasts for. Now, I think they explain that. At present, you can end a volume adjustment by either pressing and holding the AirPod stem or swiping up. That's true. But this would give you a nice hands-free gesture to accomplish the same thing. That would be cool. All right, next one up. Auto pause for sleep. Are you guilty of falling asleep while wearing your AirPods? I go to sleep with an earbud every night, but not my AirPods. A new auto pause feature could debut next week that will trigger when the wearer falls asleep. That's interesting. What's not clear at this point is whether or not the AirPods will deduce when you fall asleep themselves, or if this feature needs to work in tandem with the Apple Watch to be successful. The next one, camera control. Giving its users more ways to control their iPhone camera is the name of the game this year. First, we had the camera control button on the iPhone 16, which I have the 15 Max. I have that with me today. I didn't even get to show you guys. And the other one is my Nothing Phone 3A Pro. Let's see. And now it seems the AirPods are getting in on the action. According to 9to5Mac sources, I don't think the thus should be there. This new feature built into iOS 26 and iPadOS 26 will allow users to snap a picture from their iPhone or iPad by squeezing the AirPod stem. Interesting. We could start seeing a lot of pictures where iPhone users are holding their ears. That one I'll try right away as soon as they announce it, I guess. Microphone enhancement. One of the big features of the iPhone 16 launch was audio mix, which used AI to separate background noises from speech to deliver studio quality audio when you record videos. We put it to the test and it's genuinely impressive. Well, those smarts look to be coming to the AirPods via an upgrade that would essentially give them a studio quality mic. That would presumably allow them to compete with lapel mics. That's cool. For video creators, I'll definitely try that. And of course, it'll make you sound better when taking phone calls. All right, next thing, better pairing. That's always a good thing. Being able to pair AirPods seamlessly with multiple Apple devices is one of the reasons the headphones are as well loved as they are. Now it seems Apple is looking to develop its pairing technology to make it even easier for AirPods to be paired with shared iPads. According to 9 to 5 Mac, this is likely to be used in classroom and other teaching environments where multiple students use the same device. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, when are these features arriving? The unnamed sources speaking to 9 to 5 Mac seem pretty convinced. Apple will reveal these features during the opening keynote at WWDC 2025 next week, so maybe Monday even. Everything kicks off with that keynote on June 9th, as Apple will give us updates on all the software improvements it's been working on. Yeah, it's just a developers conference. And we're expecting a major UI overhaul and a brand new naming convention to go along with it. The keynote starts at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. That's pretty standard for them. And 6 p.m. BST. And you'll be able to watch a WWDC 2025 live stream on YouTube. That's where I always watch it. Now, I'm working Monday, but of course, I'll come home that night and watch it. You can, plus the fact, when I'm working, I'm often in the back of the van being driven from one place to another to pick up a car. So I often get to watch while I'm just riding around, sitting and not driving. You can also check out our WWDC 2025 News Hub here for everything to expect at the event next week. So it sounds like in some ways it's going to be kind of an exciting week for those of us who use Apple products. But of course, we always have the disappointment of Apple Intelligence. And I said the other day, if I were Apple, I think I'd be ashamed to even bring up Apple Intelligence, but I know they have to. That's it. It says, have the AirPods Pro too, so do I. We'll have to try those new features. Haven't even tried half of the existing features. Probably the same for me. She became a dev this year, so it'll be interesting for everyone to see the changes. Okay, cool. All right, nothing else new. Let's continue to our next story. Time-wise, I think we're doing pretty well. All right, here's a follow-up to our ongoing coverage of the Apple Epic battle. And of course, Epic has pretty much won that battle. But the last story, I told you how that judge in California was really slapping Apple around for basically trying to get around the ruling that she gave. And she was very, very upset. And it sounded like for one of their lawyers overtly lying to the court, they may pursue trying to put that guy in jail. So we'll see what happens. But this is the follow-up. Of course, they did their appeal to try to stop them from opening up the App Store, and their appeal has been rejected. So follow-up, court rejects Apple's App Store appeal. This is on CNBC.com. Court denies Apple appeal in Epic Games case, keeping App Store changes in place, which I think is a good thing. This is from 2 days ago. By this one, I've never seen this name before. Kif Leswing. Not difficult, even for me. All right, let's go into review. Get around these ads. Apple was dealt a blow in the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit, that's big time, on Wednesday as a panel of judges denied the company's emergency application to halt changes to its App Store that resulted from the company's legal battle with Epic Games. Apple bears the burden of showing that the circumstances justify an exercise of these are the judges' discretion, according to the order. After reviewing the relevant factors, we are not persuaded that a stay is appropriate. Well, good for them. I never thought I'd agree with the Ninth Circuit, but I agree with this one. Last month, the iPhone maker asked the appeals court to pause an order from U.S. District Judge Yvonne Gonzalez-Rogers, and boy, was she upset, that said that Apple could no longer charge a commission on payment links inside its apps, nor tell developers how the links should look. Good. Apple said the ruling from the judge could cost the company substantial sums. I think you're making it up. I'm not really worried about it for you. Let's see. The ruling has already shifted the economics of app development in the U.S. Developers, including Amazon and Spotify, have been able to update their apps to avoid Apple's 15 to 30% commission and direct customers to their own websites for payment. So Amazon and Spotify have already made the changes, and so Apple's already losing that 15 to 30%. Amazon's iPhone Kindle app now shows an orange Get Book button that links to Amazon. Yeah, it used to be you could not come out of the App Store if you wanted to buy something. Well, now you can, and that's what the whole case was about. And now you can, but you get to pay the company you're dealing with, not Apple, just because you're going to the App Store. The rejection of Apple's stay signals that recent changes under the order can stay in place. Apple CEO Tim Cook has said that Apple will appeal Rogers' ruling. So I guess they're probably going to appeal us all the way to the Supreme Court. I would expect them to lose, but what do I know? In April, Rogers found, that's the judge, that Apple had violated her original court order from the Epic Games trial. Boy, didn't they? Which was originally decided in 2021, that forced Apple to make limited changes to its link out policy. She issued a new, more expansive ruling that told Apple to immediately stop imposing its commissions, and she meant it too. The judge also alleged that Apple had misled the court. Yes, she, I think, filed with the legal system in California because the lawyer lied to her, and it was very obvious that the lawyer lied to her. We are disappointed. This is Apple. We are disappointed with the decision not to stay the court's order, and we'll continue to argue our case during the appeals process, an Apple spokesperson said in a statement. As we've said before, this is total nonsense. We strongly disagree with the district's court opinion. Our goal is to ensure the App Store remains an incredible opportunity for developers. They don't seem to think so, and a safe and trusted experience for our users. And this is Epic, the long national nightmare of the Apple tax is ended, Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney posted on social media. So we all have him to thank for starting this in the first place. So interesting. And of course, Apple's going to keep appealing, but like I say, once they get to the Supreme Court, if they lose, well, then it's done. And they can't charge their 30% tax on top of everybody else's stuff. So, okay, nothing else new in the comments, so we're going to go to our next to last story. Another follow-up. During the week, I gave you a separate video about how old Asus were being hacked by the thousands. So they have fixed it, and I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of it. Follow-up, Asus addresses router botnet concerns with firmware update. This I found on Tom's Hardware, but this fixes any of them, even before the fact. Let's see. Asus responds to concerns over 9,000 plus routers compromised by botnet. Firmware updates and factory reset can purge routers of persistent backdoors. So they'll fix your router, whether it's old, new, or whether you've gotten hacked or not. By Dallin Grimm, published 2 days ago. Some concerns over a persistent SSH backdoor left by a stealthy exploit soothed by Asus. So let's go into review. Asus has issued multiple statements regarding a highly publicized botnet attack infecting over 9,000 routers to date. Per our previous reporting, the AYYSH Hush botnet has infected its hosts. Much as I like warm weather, I don't like the little bugs that show up. Per our previous report, I said that. The AYYSS Hush botnet has infected its host through a mix of brute force attacks and authentication bypasses and hides its backdoor in non-volatile memory, thus attempting to hide from firmware updates and refreshes. And they said attempting to hide from the firmware, but according to ASUS, this firmware update will take care of everybody's. In an official statement regarding the insecurity, ASUS told Tom's Hardware that the vulnerabilities can be avoided for those yet uninfected. So even if you haven't had it yet, you run this, you're good to go. And fixed for those routers that have been compromised, so everybody gets fixed. The hostile agents utilize a known command injection flaw, CVE 2023, that's when it started, 39780, to enable SSH access to on a custom port and insert an attacker-controlled public key for remote access. And that's the thing, they have a public key which they can get in with. The exploit has been patched in the latest ASUS firmware update, and as such, ASUS advises all users of its routers to update their firmware. After this, ASUS advises a factory reset followed by adding a strong administrator password. So you run the firmware update, then you do a factory reset, you should be good to go. For those users with routers that have reached end-of-life support, and those were the ones that were really under threat big time, or those who are tech-savvy enough to open up their router settings and wish to avoid a factory reset, ASUS recommends disabling all remote access features such as SSH, DDNS, AI Cloud, or web access from WAN, and confirming that the SSH, so this is for people who know what they're doing, especially TCP port 53282, so that's a very specific port, is not exposed to the internet. The AYYSS Hush botnet was first discovered by security firm Grey Noise, and that's when I did the video separately. Grey Noise was the ones who had discovered this in March, making its findings public in May via alerts thrown up by its proprietary AI monitoring technology, SIFT. Grey Noise categorizes the attackers responsible for the botnet as a well-resourced and highly capable adversary. In other words, they never figure out who did it, though without making any accusations about who the attackers were. A census search of the affected routers, which at the time of writing numbers above 9,500, can be found here. To date, activity from the botnet has been minimal, with only 30 related requests registered across 3 months. So that's pretty good, but now everybody will be fixed. In further comments specifically sent to Tom's Hardware, ASUS adds that it sent push notifications to applicable users, alerting them to update their firmware once the exploit became widely known. Users also have resources including ASUS's product security advisory page and an updated knowledge base article covering the exploits specifically. ASUS also claims to have been working to update firmware on models including the RT-AX55 router well before the Grey Noise report, or we hope, went up to protect against this known vulnerability. So they're saying they knew about it before Grey Noise started reporting it online. This is a key detail from the company, as CVE 2023-39780 reporting shows that ASUS had been made aware of the vulnerability before the most recent Grey Noise report went out. Any concerned ASUS router users should confirm that their SSH is not exposed to the internet and are advised to check their router's log for repeated login failures or unfamiliar. Yeah, you'll see that right away if somebody else is trying to hack in. SSH keys indicating a past brute force attack. Leaving routers exposed to WAN access and the open internet is a recipe for disaster, and nearly all routers infected by the botnet were likely operating under highly vulnerable, unsafe conditions caused by end users. Still, as with all web security matters, it is better to be safe than sorry, and to ensure routers and other web-connected devices are operating on modern firmware. So run that firmware update. You should be good to go no matter what Asus router you have or how old it is. So thought it was a good idea to follow up with that. And kudos to Asus for being on the case and taking care of everybody. All right, nothing else new. So down to my last story. I just happened to run across this one. I found it interesting. Samsung is about to annoy you using your phone to get pushy. And again, this is another Verge story. This lady is very upset by what Samsung is doing here. Samsung phones are getting a weird AI shopping platform nobody asked for. I did not, and I can't emphasize this enough, ever want to see an ad on my lock screen by Allison Johnson. She writes a lot of their articles, which I've never seen her so upset. This is from 2 days ago. Let's go into review. Glance AI, a brand owned by mobile advertising company InMobi, has announced a partnership with the Samsung Galaxy Store to roll out its e-commerce platform to Galaxy phones in the U.S. The company's app centers around what it calls a generative AI shopping platform, which is a serious contender for the most cursed phrase I've read today. She's very aggravated about this. The experience compromises both the standalone app and a lock screen component to try and sell you clothes. Crucially, the whole thing is fully opt-in, which thank Christ. So thank God for that. But even if you opt out, which you absolutely should, this feels like a sign of things to come as advertisers try to leverage AI to sell us more stuff. Buckle up. You may remember InMobi as the company ruining Motorola's otherwise decent budget phones with a bunch of e-commerce nonsense. Yeah, that was a couple of years ago. I didn't remember the name of the company, but I remember people got very upset with what Motorola did with that company. The version of this that Galaxy owners might see centers on a feature that uses Gen AI and a photo of you to create images of you wearing different outfits with new looks available every day. So it'll, I guess, take a full image of you and find clothes to fit it and show you what they'll look like on you. But like she said, did you ask for that? No. Unsurprisingly, you can buy the clothes with a tap. Gee, this can all happen on your lock screen. Why would you want that on your lock screen? And for some reason, you can save these AI-generated creations as lock screen wallpapers. I will not be doing this. Glance AI's lock screen features appear to vary by region. In India, where InMobi was founded, Glance lock screens show ads in addition to things like news updates and sports scores. That's even worse to me. The implementation on Samsung phones doesn't seem to include ads, mercifully, at least for now. I don't know about you, but I will absolutely throw my phone into the sea the first time I see an ad on my lock screen, so I hope this never comes to pass. Glance AI is rolling out the Samsung Galaxy S22, 23, 24, and 25, which I don't have any of those, series phones starting today and should reach a full 100% scale in the next 30 days. So it sounds like it's going to go to all the Samsung phones to me, I guess, even like my cheap A54, but we'll see. Presumably, it'll arrive as an optional download in the Galaxy Store when that happens, though I wouldn't be surprised if it comes with a push notification encouraging users to download it. Like I said, she's pretty aggravated about this. So just thought that was a good article to finish up with. So let's see. It says could be invasive, could be okay, but I consider that invasive for sure. But at least we can opt out. But this lady was very upset about it. So that's all I've got for tonight, folks. And let's see, 50 minutes in. So not bad when I'm all by myself. So thanks for everybody who came in. And maybe we'll get lucky next week and we'll have Ted again like we did last week. So, as always, I'll see you guys next week. And I hope everybody has a very blessed weekend and a very blessed week. And let's always remember we all do better when we love each other. So, see you next week, folks.